Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to Jets Media. This is Richie, and in this video, I'm going to give you guys the recap to day 2 of the New York Jets training camp. We got another practice to talk about. Training camp is officially underway. If you guys missed my recap to yesterday's training camp, which was the first day of training camp, I'll leave that down below in the description so you guys can check out all the latest news regarding the New York Jets. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I got a lot of Jets content coming your way, covering the training camp. I cannot wait to be there on Saturday. It's going to be a great time to be back at the training facility to see the Jets go out there. Today, the biggest takeaways before we get into the details, Zach Wilson was running for his life. The defense definitely won the day today. The pass rush was getting home to Zach Wilson, but he still had a decent practice and still handled the pressure pretty well. And outside of that, we're going to get into everything that we saw, all the tweets from all the beat reporters, all the people that were at training camp, like the beat reporters and the people that are part of the beat. They are at practice giving us live tweet by tweet, so we can go out there and read and talk about it as Jets fans and react to what's going out there. And remember, there's no pads. There's still, they're not going full speed right now, so you got to take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to these reports, because in the trenches, it's really hard to evaluate the trench work when there's not full pads and they're not going 100% yet. But that's definitely something we have to keep an eye on when talking about training camp. But yeah, man, I really do appreciate all the support, guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button before we hop into it. It really helps out the video. And do not forget to comment down below your thoughts of today's training camp. What's your biggest thoughts about what the New York Jets did today in training camp? What your biggest takeaways are? And of course, your thoughts of the video. That'd be greatly appreciated down below in the comments. So let's get right into the video. So the biggest takeaways before we get into all the individual stuff, individual players. The defense won the day, like I said, with pass rush, but Robert Saleh did say after practice that the defensive line will have the advantage over the offensive line anytime you practice without pads, and that's pretty obvious, right? Whenever there's no pads and they're not going 100%, the defensive line is going to easily be able to get the better of the offensive line when the offensive line do not have any pads to be able to really protect themselves. So don't really look into the trench work as a, to get concerned right now, because first of all, it's a good thing that the pass rush is doing well, and that's going to be the thing throughout training camp. That's just the reality of us as a fan base. Whenever something good happens, that means it's a bad thing for the other side of the ball, right? The defense looks really good, but what about the offense? They look trash. Or the offense is looking good, but what about the defense? It's trash. That's part of training camp. There's always going to be a positive and a negative to every single side of things, because you want the entire team to look good. But at the end of the day, everybody's going to be making plays. The offensive line's going to struggle here and there. The defensive line's not going to get pass rush, and then vice versa. So that's just part of training camp. There's always going to be two sides to everything. Also, Zach Wilson handled the pressure pretty well. He did get sacked a lot, to the point where the play would have been whistled dead, but he still kept going, and he was throwing dimes down the field to Elijah Moore. He was making really impressive throws, even though that they did blow the whistle dead. But at the same time, he was escaping the pressure pretty well. You know that Zach Wilson has that mobility. He has that athleticism in him, to the point where he has the internal clock, and he feels a little more comfortable of, okay, pockets collapsing, how do I maneuver and how do I create something out of nothing? And according to all the tweets today that we saw on Twitter, Zach Wilson did a great job of doing just that, avoiding the pressure, scrambling, picking up yards with his legs, scrambling and extending the play for guys down the field. He had a really beautiful ball to Elijah Moore. Unfortunately, I don't have a clip of it that I can show you, but apparently he had a bunch of dimes today. So Zach Wilson continues to look good, and he finished off practice on third down looking really, really sharp. I think he had 3 or 4 straight completions to finish off practice on third down drills. So there's excellent stuff from Zach Wilson, his first 2 practices in year number 2 from Zach. Love to see that. So another player that impressed today, according to all of it, the first player that everyone was talking about was rookie running back Breece Hall. He had a very impressive run, according to Connor, and then he had a one-handed grab on a screen pass from Zach Wilson. So Breece Hall is a player that's definitely showing up, and his name is being called, his name is being talked about. Now, this is a player that's being hyped up more than any other Jets player on this offense, in my opinion. Especially in the rookie class. You ask Jets fans, who is the one rookie that you're expecting the most from this season? It's Breece Hall. And the funny thing about that is he's the 4th pick that we got in the NFL draft. He's not the first guy, the 2nd or the 3rd we got. He's the 4th out of Sauce, Garrett Wilson, and Jermaine Johnson. And Jets fans have so many expectations for Breece Hall, and rightfully so, because he's an absolute stud, best running back in the draft. And running backs traditionally are really good right out of the gate. There's not that much of a learning curve. Running backs are doing really well in the NFL when it comes to rookies. And, Breece Hall's another guy that's going pretty high in fantasy drafts. If you guys are into fantasy football, he's a really good, I think he's ranked 35th out of every single player, out of all the receivers, all the running backs, tight ends, he's 35th, and he's projected to go like round 3 in your fantasy football draft. So that tells you how high ESPN ranks Breece Hall's potential this season as a fantasy running back, and that obviously translates to the field, because if you're putting up good fantasy numbers, that means you're putting up real good numbers on the field. That's all really that matters. So it's good to see Breece Hall's name being called, because he's definitely someone I'm really excited to see develop as training camp progresses, because you can't really read too much into the running game without pads, but at the same time, he's making one-handed snags in the screen in the passing game. He has impressive runs. He's showing the burst. He's showing the agility. So great things coming out of rookie running back Breece Hall. We also saw something from Jermaine Johnson. He's been flashing, according to Ethan Greenberg, the New York Jets team reporter. He's been looking good. He had a near sack. He's looking like a player that's going out there, and this is the first time we get a good look at Jermaine Johnson as a rookie, because in OTAs they did no trench work at all, so it was really hard to see who's looking good on the offensive line, who's looking good on the defensive line, so we could finally see that at the beginning of training camp. But again, we cannot read too much into the trenches in the offensive line and defensive line until Monday when they put the pads on. But at the same time, it is good to see Jermaine Johnson's name being called, because I really feel like he's a lot of upside and a lot of fun things to do with this Jets team as a rookie. Garrett Wilson, speaking of him as well, another rookie. He had a great catch from Joe Flacco over the middle. Unfortunately, I cannot show you guys a clip of it, but it's good to see Garrett Wilson going out there and doing his thing, snagging it in traffic, bringing it down, high catch radius. You know that Garrett Wilson's going to be a player that's going to be making flashy catches, flashy routes. He's going to be a fan favorite right out of the gate. And then getting into what happened in terms of the sacks, Bryce Huff had back-to-back sacks on Mekhi Becton off the right side. So Mekhi Becton, he's working through things on that right tackle spot. You cannot expect Mekhi to just go to the right tackle spot a year removed from the game of football and just be dominant right away in training camp. He's going to have a slow transition to that side of the offensive line. He's going to have to get into football shape. And again, it's really hard to evaluate offensive linemen without pads. So please do not read too much into Mekhi Becton, getting beat a little bit by Bryce Huff in these team periods, because it's really not that big of a deal, in my opinion, this early on. And then breaking down the first series of team drills that Connor Hughes laid out to us. So just so we can get an idea of what the coaching staff are trying to run right now. It was a run to Michael Carter, Zach Wilson scramble, Ty Johnson run, Zach Wilson scramble, and a sack. So that basically shows you that the Jets offensive line and the Jets offense couldn't really do anything early on in training camp. Apparently the wide receivers were not getting any separation. The pass rush was in Zach Wilson's face, so he was unable to throw the ball down the field. But according to all the reports that we're seeing, Zach Wilson did not force it. He did not look like a quarterback that just tried to do something where he shouldn't. He knew to eat the ball. He knew to scramble when he needed to. He knew to break free out of the pocket when the pocket was collapsing, which is great to see. And of course, checking it down to his running backs. And the second series, back-to-back sacks from Bryce Huff to start it off. And then Zach threw a pass to Calvin Jackson, the undrafted wide receiver. And then he threw another pass to Trevon Wesco. And then Vinny Curry finished it off with a sack. So those are two team series drills that Connor Hughes broke down. And then Zach Wilson finished all practice, like I said, with really good plays on third down, back to back. He had a dime to Elijah Moore down the field, which I wish we could see a freaking clip of it, because it really drives me crazy that we cannot see a clip of it. But speaking of what Robert Saleh had to say, apparently George Fant is not out there at practice yet. Because they don't want to throw him out there right away. They want to ease his way in. He did not participate in OTAs at all, so they don't want to make sure they just throw George Fant out there. It's not contract related. It's not really like he has an injury, but he is coming off of surgery. He's a full go. He's fully cleared, but he's not going to be out there early on in training camp. So that's good to hear that he's doing okay. Saleh also said that, do not read too much into Mekhi Becton, losing his breath a little bit. It's humid. He's a big man. He's going to be, getting into football shape, even though he did show up in physical, really good shape. Football shape is different than physical shape, because you got to be able to, have these drills, have that, body just getting, bamboozled every other second. So I feel like Mekhi Becton, especially in humid weather, he's going to have some times where he's going to be a little gassed, and I'm excited to see Mekhi get into shape and really show why he was the 11th overall pick and why he is our franchise tackle for the New York Jets. So my biggest takeaways when it comes to today's practice: the defense definitely won the day. The pass rush got home on Zach Wilson. Offensive line struggled, but again, I said it over and over again, you cannot read too much into the trench work yet without pads. But the good thing is Zach Wilson Doesn't really matter pads or not, because the pass rush is coming at Zach, and he's learning how to deal with the pass rush. So I feel like that's a really good sign that Zach Wilson in training camp, he's getting used to the feeling of pass rush. And let's hope that that doesn't happen when it comes to regular season games. We don't want to see Zach Wilson scrambling. We want to see him upright. We want to see him have time in the pocket. But of course, there will be times this season where Zach Wilson has to learn how to avoid the pressure, how to scramble, pick up the first down with his legs, how to scramble to his left, scramble to his left, scramble to his right, pick up the first down with his arm, and make something out of nothing. So I really love to see that Zach Wilson is continuing to make those progressions in year number 2. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section of this video and your thoughts of practice as a whole from the New York Jets. And I'll catch you guys in my next video. Appreciate all the support, and please do not forget to like the video if you guys enjoy. Comment down below also a Jet emoji if you stayed until the end. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Let's go Jets. Peace out.